So you worked really hard on a brief for a motion, you got in front of the judge and you killed it on your feet during an argument, and then you lost. How do you cope with that? Hello everyone, my name is Shane Scott. I am a litigation attorney in New Jersey and the creator of thespirituallitigator.com, a blog dedicated to self-care, stress management, and mindfulness for attorneys. Today we are talking about 3 ways to cope with losing. And this is something that can be really, really daunting for a young attorney who has come from law school, where we're primed to believe that you put in the hard work, you get the good grade, you do really well at moot court, you have the best argument, you have the best brief, and then you'll win your argument. And so we are thrust into the real world of legal practice and find out that that's not necessarily the case. The best brief doesn't always win, and the best argument doesn't always get the best outcome. And we're going to talk about how to cope with that today. So the first way I would suggest coping with it is don't take it personally. And as a young lawyer, you come out of law school, and if you're like me, this is something you wanted to do your entire life and you're finally here. And when you get an unfavorable ruling from a judge, sometimes you can take it personally, as if that judge is saying to you, you're not good enough, you're a terrible lawyer, you did a terrible job, and this is your punishment for being terrible, you need to get out of here. And the self-doubt comes up and you worry. So I would say to that, just don't take it personally. Unless you're someone who makes enemies very early on in your career, it's very unlikely that the judge has made this ruling specifically against you. What you have is a client, you have facts, and you have things that are going on that the judge is interpreting, and the judge may interpret the facts differently than what you'd like that judge to interpret, and they might analyze the law in a different way. And sometimes you're just on the losing end of that analysis. Don't take it personally. Second, accept the fact that you cannot control outcomes. You have your own clients with their own lives, with their own facts. You have things that are completely out of your control. And when it comes down to it, no amount of the greatest brief writing of all time is going to change the fact that maybe you have a really bad case, or maybe you have a client that's not that likable. You can't change that. So just accept the fact that sometimes the client that you have is not a match to the outcome that you want. And that's fine. That has nothing to do with you. Which brings us to number 3. Do your best regardless of the outcome. You might just know this isn't going to work out very well, but no matter how bad your case looks, there's always something that's going to help you. There's always some mistake that the other side made. There's always some nugget of law that you can find and try to work with and try to persuade the court with. And that's why I say, listen, always give your best, because when it comes down to it, even if you know that your client is not a match to a win, you can always look back and say, it's nothing that I did. It's all on the other things that I could not control, but I controlled how I reacted. I controlled the amount of work I put in, and I put in enough work to know that this outcome has nothing to do with me. So to recap, don't take it personally. Accept that you cannot control outcomes, but do your best regardless of the outcome. And this is how you can cope with losing. If you would like to get more information from me, go ahead and check out the blog at thespirituallitigator.com. You can also follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Shane_Scott, and like my Facebook page at facebook.com/spirituallitigator. Thank you for listening, and remember, don't burn out, just breathe.